Toronto has done it again. Another 2 big milestones and another new record price from the latest market watch. Whew, oh yeah, we did it. Stay tuned to find out what I mean. Promise you, it'll be worth it. Good day, Toronto. Welcome to another episode of Prime Pops TV. So glad you could join me here. At what point do I stop saying like another new record each month? Because it's like a broken record, right? Over and over and over again. But I personally really hope it's going to be before spring of 2022 because there often are accelerations seasonally when it comes to pricing during the springtime, which is kind of scary, right? So what are the 2 big milestones I was talking about earlier Toronto has achieved? Well, for the first time ever, the 416 towns and the 905 semis broke $1 million. See, I remember this very vividly because when I have all the data, the chart, I have to make the column on my Excel spreadsheet wider because it only shows like hashtag signs because we've added another digit to the average price, right? So now we're in the 2 comma price point. Absolutely insane, absolutely insane. And to put this into context as to why this is a little bit freaky and worrisome even for me, this means that the only type of non-condo housing in all of Greater Toronto area is the 905 towns. That's it. Yes, only the 905 towns are under $1 million. And for the record, it's only $77,000 under the million price point. We'll probably break that at some point. Absolutely insane. But more on that later in this video. Now, let me tell you the latest numbers you'll be hearing a lot from the current media headlines, which are sales are about 9,800, down 7% from last year. And the average price is $1.15 million, up 19%. Mind-boggling. Technically, you know, it's down from last month's 25% year to year for perspective, but you know, still really high. And the months of inventory at a 0.7, back down to less than 1. And the market is super tight right now. So, you know, in case you missed it, 1.15 million is the new record again, right? So 2 accomplishments, milestones, and a new record. Now, I'm obviously biased towards where the real estate pricing will head towards, but I try to stay fairly neutral and just kind of talk about the data. But the last 2 weeks, there's all this talk about real estate market crashing due to interest rates, and I really think it's overblown, really. Now, while I do think a sudden rise in interest rates can cause prices to, plummet, I don't think the interest rate hikes are going to come as fierce and as rapidly as what, everyone's saying, including all the head honchos and economists at the banks, right? So I went over that last week, link up here if you want to check it out. But my point here is that now that I'm sharing you the latest numbers with you, do you see why I am still fairly bullish on the real estate market in the short term, call it like 6 to 12 months? These numbers confirm my thesis when that the fact inventory is so low, and even if these interest rates come up, how far up are we going to go up into pricing ladders before we see any signs of de-acceleration? Right? Keyword I'm using, de-acceleration, not slow down or crash, because it has to stop accelerating at this pace before it goes the other way. And very rarely is it sudden stop, right? So we have to de-accelerate first. So keep that in mind. Now, this is the type of real estate content you enjoy. Make sure to help us spread the knowledge by smashing that like button and sharing it with all your family and friends, and obviously subscribing to the Prime Pops channel. Because every week I make content about this, specifically this month, about all these crazy market numbers that came up, because we want to talk about real estate content that really matters to you, right? Because we're trying to be transparent and honest so that, you know what, when you're ready to, buy your first home, move up, or get an investment property, like, oh, Zen, him and his team, he knows what they're talking about, and you'll schedule a call with me using the link right here to strategize your future. That's why we're putting it all out there, right? Plus, if you just want to watch me talk about real estate, yeah, sure, cool. Now, here are the month-to-month numbers, which I generally like to follow a bit more because, the pandemic has skewed the yearly numbers like crazy. But sales are up 7.3%, 7.53% from last month, which is normal. Prices are up about 1.7%. Also, which is normal, and we should probably see a slowdown for this month in November. But if we don't, we have a big problem on our hands. Big problem. This is what I've been watching super carefully, and I've been warning a lot of my clients, and I'm also pretty sure I said this on the YouTube channel as well in the last 2 months, that I'm seeing all the same patterns that I saw in late 2016 when we saw a massive price run up in the winter months in 2016 and 2017, which caused the foreign buyer tax to be implemented, right? Because the prices went up like crazy. And also same rapid price run up we saw right before the pandemic in the winter months of like 2019, 2020. Be aware, I'm watching this, and let me tell you what I mean. You see this chart over here? The yellow highlighted areas where we are right now are the numbers that came up for October 2021. And in the last 10 plus years, we have not seen this type of low inventory in a very long time. That month ranked 3rd lowest amount of inventory, lowest months of inventory. Crazy, right? For an October, not healthy. Super scary thought. Now the green areas I put over here, these are from this year because we still have very low inventory. Pretty crazy, right? This is all from like the early spring of 2021, where things were growing like crazy. And this is because we have a 10-year record low of the amount of new listings because, nobody wants to sell anything and no one wants to buy anything, or the fact that the demand has pulled up. Whatever you look at it, none of houses to buy. Now, why is this important? If you look at the chart over here, again, what I've highlighted in red for you are the crazy months I always talk about where people are throwing money at properties, sight unseen, no conditions, way over asking, tons of deposit, right before the foreign buyer tax was implemented. This is because there's freaky low amount of inventory during the winter months back then. You see it highlighted in red. Right now, what I'm seeing is kind of a very similar starting out mirroring pattern in my mind, right? And I'm just waiting to see the November numbers and how they turn out. And poof, it's gonna be scary if they're bad, right? Now, what's that 1 month slotted in between? That's December 2019, which is, what I was talking about where the 905 was about to explode in pricing, but, didn't get much traction because pandemic, right? But it happened a few months afterwards anyways, but probably for like a myriad of different reasons, right? Now, the second thing I'll address is that everyone will be talking about is that how sales are down 7% from last year, right? Now, if you've been following a lot of what I've been saying in my market watches and all the other stuff, how I talk about inventory, you know that 7% down has nothing to do with that nobody is buying. It's actually because there's nothing to buy, right? It's not because the demand isn't there, because trust me, it is most definitely there. For some context, sales down 7% from last year still means it's the October with the second most transactions ever. So put that into perspective. It means that the only year in October, like the month of October, where we had more sales was the year before, which was 2020. So if you look at the chart here, you see the scary part? 2021 is the only year where we have 4 digits of active listing, less than 10,000 listings. Supply issues? Heck yeah, right? Now, as a side note, the current year-to-date amount of sales, I believe, is like around 107,000. I did the math. The record is 113,000 in 2016, and you guessed it, right before the foreign buyer tax. There's a very, very good chance we're going to break that, assuming we get enough listings for the latter half of the year. And if we break that sales record while having a 10-year low in listing, that's just messed up. That's just absolutely messed up. Just messed up. So do you see why I am so bullish on real estate in the short term? Now, let me address the 2 milestones that GTA accomplished some more, right? The first one is the 4 and 6 towns breaking $1 million. Here's the chart of the history. This one I didn't really see coming because it happened like, bam, so quickly, right? You can see in the last month we saw like a massive explosion in growth by like 10%. 10% in 1 month is absolutely not healthy. Now, while I don't like to use the 416 metric much because the amount of sales you can see is like in the low hundreds and very small sample size, right? There really aren't that many towns in 4 and 6 to kind of buy. So this is why, it looks rather impressive when it kind of shoots up because it fluctuates because there are a lot of prices between towns. It's just a small amount, but still rather impressive it broke this record. Now, the second milestone broken was the 905 semis, which I saw coming. You can check out the chart over here. It was going to happen at some point this year. Like last year was like off by $9,000 or something. Knew it was going to happen. Now, what you have to understand about these 2 segments of the market, and what most people probably won't understand, is the 4 and 6 towns and the 905 semis represent a very rare and kind of far in between segment of the housing market right now. Now, what I mean by that is they don't really build 4 and 6 towns anymore, right? In Toronto, obviously, and 905, there's very, very rare amount of semis being built. This is what I partially mean, kind of classifying these 2 type of assets into like the missing middle. The 4 and 6, obviously, as you know now, are building mostly high rises and condos, right? In the 905, they're mostly building detaches and towns in these subdivisions, not semis as much anymore, because a lot of cities are against low density, so they have to do high density and then low density, even though I personally think detaches make them the most money, right? Which is why the semis are getting more and more rare. This is why a pre-construction about like 2,500 square feet above grade in Whitby is starting at $1.3 million. Yeah, happened, yeah. Right? So we're slowly building more and more of the extremities, right? Which is your super small condos for investors and your 2,500 square feet McMansions in the burbs. The only remnants of what's like missing in the middle are the towns and the 905 that haven't broken $1 million, right? And I think that it's probably happening now because they're trying to build more and more of those for more density to make the cities happy. Now that's it for this month's Market Watch without me making this video any longer, because I could if I wanted to. But if you're wondering why I didn't talk about the 4 and 6 condo, nothing against that asset. It's kind of like same pricing, inventory, kind of stabilizing. But what I will suspect is it is going to heat up soon. More on that about a different video, but a lot of it has to do with like the downward pressure that first-time homebuyers are going to be feeling from the freehold market being absolutely insane and maybe pushing the freehold people into the condo space because, you know, being priced out, right? So I will pay more attention to that and what happens in November, as I think that is probably a warning sign for where prices are going to come for the next few months and how 2020 is going to pan out, right? So make sure to stay tuned and subscribe to the Prime Video channel. And now if you're wondering, you know, how you should do this or go about this in the real estate market and what to do with all these crazy record highs and all these crazy things about specifically your unique situation in real estate, you can reach out to me by booking a call using the link right here. It's www.chatwithzen.com. And until next time, your move, your future. See ya. Now that you're done watching this one, how about this one? Oh, you know what? This one's good too. Ooh, this one's really good. You know what? Just watch them both.